Yes.
Yo.
Big up all the people, man. I see here is saying that I'll give £100 to anyone who guessed it, but no one guessed it, so I'm safe. No one guessed it, so I'm clear. I don't have to give 100 quid to anyone. So
First person to guess it now.
No.
So to guess what? Bring me in on this, please. To guess what?
So
Jordan said in the chat, whoever
12
guesses
inches. 12 inches.
Yeah, it's past watershed now, so you're allowed to say that kind of stuff. He said first person who guesses our guess gets 100 quid off me. So, and that's not it.
I don't think anyone would have guessed it, to be honest.
To be fair, people started, but then
Big Steve.
Yeah, big up to Daps, man. Join us for tonight's stream. Daps in the building.
Thanks for having me, man.
We'll just have a conversation about the weekend, look at the results, and speak about City's transfer business. Obviously, with the Nunes thing kind of stalling a little bit. But people who are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We're on the way to 100k. We're skipping 90, going straight to 100, because that's the fastest route there. And yeah, go check out Daps, man. Never Fallen, also MCFC Daps on all socials and that. Right, where do you want to start? Transfers or last weekend's results?
I want to start.
Let's get into go on.
I want to start with a serious topic, and that's the Young Player of the Year award. This has got under my skin. I'm not afraid to admit it. It's got under my skin that Erling Haaland has not won the PFA Young Player of the Year. He's out here breaking records while Saka's choking the league. Haaland's broken records last season that have stood longer than Saka's been alive. Don't get me wrong, Saka had a fantastic season for Arsenal, and they had a great season by their own previous standards. But how has Haaland not won that? I know Daps spoke about someone else to win Player of the Year, and I get that, but Haaland for me had to win Young Player of the Year, lads.
So do you know what? If for me, right, if you're going to be nominated for two, if they're going to allow you to be nominated for two, right, and if you win Player of the Year, then make it make sense that you're not young player of the year, right? It
Yeah,
just
it
quite
doesn't
simply
make sense, does it?
like
If you can win, if you win the
yeah.
senior award, then and you're eligible for the Young Player of the Year award.
You
By
win both.
default, you should be winning that Young Player of the Year award.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And the thing is, right? So earlier on, I had someone message me, a City fan, saying, "Daps, do you think that this season we could see Haaland get more involved?" And I go, "What do you mean by more involved?" He goes, "I go, why would you want to see him get more involved?" He goes, "Well, I just think that it would be better if he gets more involved." I said, "Have you ever thought that the reason Haaland doesn't get as involved is because Pep's asked him to not get involved? If he does get involved and he drops deeper, he's not going to score as many goals. He's not going to break records. He's going to bring a load of defenders back into the middle of the park, and then it's going to overload the midfield." So he is doing exactly what Pep has asked him to do. He's broke every single record and we won a treble, right? So there will always be this whole Saka. There will be some saying Saka actually had a better season as a player. No, he didn't. Right? It's very simple. Haaland broke records, did what the manager said, and we won a treble. It's that simple. Now, my only argument would be, do you know what? I actually think that Rodri had a better season than Haaland. So I'd personally give Rodri player of the season, and Haaland then hands down wins young player of the season. But ultimately, the narrative is the same. Haaland should have won young player of the season. It's that simple.
Yeah, I don't know how people can do it. It's confusing. It's just a confusing thing for him to not won both awards. I just checked as well, and the senior award and the Young Player of the Year award has been won by a single player 3 times. Andy Gray in 1976-77, Ronaldo won it in 2006-07, and Gareth Bale won it in 2012-13. So it does happen, and this is an occasion where you'd argue it should have happened. So it's confusing. It's confusing, man. I don't get it. I don't get it. It
don't make sense. Doesn't make sense. It's that simple because of the fact that if he's player of the year, you can choose from any player in the Premier League, he wins it. Therefore, if for young players, it doesn't make sense. But you know what? Is what it is. I'm sure Haaland won't be losing sleep.
No, I'm not going to lose sleep. Obviously, I'll get over.
No, I meant Haaland won't either. Yeah.
No, Haaland won't, man. He's got the real medals to look at tonight when he goes home from the award ceremony. I just think in a freak year, which the treble winning season is, it's a freak year. We all know that doesn't happen regularly, and that's why it has to get the light shined on it the way it deserves. That a City player should win both awards. I don't know what argument you can make for anybody else to win the award that's not a City player after they've won the 3rd Premier League in a row and completed a treble. I just think it's absolutely wild, and Haaland's been absolutely robbed. I mean, we did the Ballon d'Or type stream earlier on, me and you, Jordan, and there is a strong argument for Rodri to win the Ballon d'Or, but there's also a strong argument for Rodri to win the Player of the Year. So I agree with Daps on that. If they gave it to Rodri, I'm happy for him. He deserves it. But Young Player of the Year, there's nobody else. Like, Haaland's head and shoulders above everybody else. Haaland's head and shoulders above Saka for that award. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know the players voted for that. Is there some sort of bias? Is there something I'm missing out on here? Is there something that I didn't read?
It's funny because, Arsenal fans will now be celebrating this like it's a trophy. And it's kind of funny to me that he's won that where, all right, cool, well, he won that, but the player that actually is about the same age as him won Player of the Year, so it kind of downgrades that. And then we even look at the Community Shield, and I've got this bee in my bonnet about the Community Shield that, like, that's void because to be in the Community Shield, you have to win something, and they didn't win neither. So they're in there
by default.
And it is like this. It does almost sense like, oh, come on, we've got to give Arsenal something for having such a good season for them. Like, and do you know what? Let's just pity him and go, yeah, cool, hold him.
Yeah, it's not it, man. It's not it. Like,
nah.
It doesn't, like, Twitter's losing the shit over it as well because again, like we keep saying, it doesn't make sense.
I'm part of that. I'm part of that group of people. I've been tweeting about it.
Have you? Have you been on it here? Yeah, you've been on it, getting active.
And the Arsenal fans' argument is, well, who are you to say Haaland deserves it more when this award is voted for by the players? Like, it doesn't take a genius to work out why I feel Haaland deserves it more. And it's actually not even to do with bias. If you just watch the guy last season and look at the numbers he's put up, I think that argument alone, even if we didn't win the league, bro, if Haaland just broke those records alone, because they're such outstanding records, you could still say Haaland deserves it more.
I've seen a few things that kind of make the fact that the players voted for Haaland for player of the season and not young player. I've seen a few things. Like I've seen, for example, in one group chat, someone said, "Yeah, but if you take Haaland out of that list, Saka would win it." I'm like, "But why would you take Haaland out of the list? He's in the list, bro. You can't take him out." And the same, I see like a certain YouTube channel and media outlet that might happen to be owned by Arsenal. That they constantly are tweeting, like I see, not tweet, they post on Instagram things where it will have pictures of, like, say 4 strikers ago, which will score the most goals, and Haaland just won't be in there. And it's like, okay, I get it. You just want to take Haaland out so that you can put them, and that's the thing. I think the players probably have looked at both lists and gone, "Oh well, we're all going to vote for Haaland for this one. So do you know what? Let's be nice to Saka and give Saka one." Just literally for that reason. Just because they don't want to, they're being nice. They don't want to give Haaland 2. But you know what? Sometimes I feel like, do you know what? He skipped a year at school because he's that good. That's all it is.
I don't think Haaland are worried about it either. And then if the whole thing is a player's vote as well, then it's kind of like the thing of players then will go, "Oh, everyone's going to vote for Haaland anyway, so I'll just vote for Saka." I mean, like Joe there says, pity votes kind of thing, because they go, "Oh, everyone's going to vote for Haaland, so I'll do something different." But,
do you know another thing that sometimes in this, I don't know who was, but like for the Ballon d'Or, for example, the reason why I don't believe a City player will get it is sometimes, like, I would imagine there's going to be a lot of City players in the nominees for the Ballon d'Or, right? And the Ballon d'Or is by players. So if you imagine straight away, if there's 4 City players in there or 3 City players in there, some City players will vote for Haaland, some City players will vote for Rodri, some City players will vote for Kevin De Bruyne. Whereas instantly, if Messi's in there, every single PSG player is going to vote for Messi. Probably every single Barcelona player is going to vote for Messi. Every single Argentinian player. And it's just because once you have more than one in there as a club, there's less chance of you winning it because
it hinders, because it spreads too much. Yeah, that makes sense.
But do you know what? These things, you want the players to get them because you think they deserve them. But for me as fans, and it will irritate us and give a bee in our bonnet, but we just have to sit here and go, whatever, man. Like,
take the treble, innit? We'll take the trophies.
Literally,
these individual awards are not really asked about.
Yeah, all through the year when people are saying this and that, it's like, yeah, but like I had someone say on the show earlier on that Arsenal are showing the form of champions, right? Sam, hold tight, you. And then said, hold on, bro, they've won 2 and drawn 1, right? Yeah, but you didn't look good against Sheffield United. Okay, fine. So what we're saying is we peppered Sheffield United's goal, Arsenal peppered Fulham's goal, but Arsenal just didn't have enough to get it over the line. Whereas, guess what? We did.
Yeah.
And that's like, you can come up with whatever you want, and all of those stats, and it's like the one where the season where Liverpool was so good for coming second. No, we were better for coming first. So I don't even know why that was. It's just this. I have to do it, innit?
It's just what happened, isn't it? They just pick something else. Like they can't always be like just like shagging, sitting, anything like that. They have to go.
And if all else fails, just mention 115 charges, and then that will win the argument, innit? So
yeah.
It's a pain in the arse, man. If you're like me and you allow yourself for 10 minutes to get consumed by it, but I mean, Big Steve always says this, and he is fairly right, which is that while you're all patting each other on the back for winning the transfer windows and winning these individual awards, and you're the bigger club awards, where you're the bigger club and this, that, the other, we're out here collecting the actual trophies, and we'll take that every single time. If Haaland never wins a Young Player of the Year, but we win another 5 Premier Leagues, who gives a fuck? I'm happy.
Well, we're doing a 4-peat this year. How about that?
And he still won't win the Young Player of the Year.
Yeah, still not winning it. I'm not sure, but I think it's just been confirmed that Haaland has won the Player of the Year. Yeah, he has. He has now, actually. It's just been confirmed. Haaland has been crowned 22-23 Player of the Year. Imagine he didn't win it and then Saka won the young one. That would have been chaos. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, yeah,
Odegaard wins Player of the Season.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Oh, man.
Do you know what? There's a new one, though. There's a new De Bruyne replacement in it. So the new De Bruyne comparison is Szoboszlai.
How is
You
it?
seen
Is
how-
that
oh
it
yeah,
now?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, did you
Literally
watch Big
one good
Six last
game.
night, Daps, man? Did you watch Big Six last night?
Do you know what? I had it on, and I'll be honest with you, an hour of Grizz waxing lyrical about just how good Liverpool are was just. Bro, on Saturday night, I learned a few things about YouTube this weekend. So Saturday night with Arsenal's draw, right? Our chat is always full of Arsenal fans. So anyone watching this, by the way, that's a City fan, please subscribe to Never a Found Now because we need more blues over there. There's way too many Arsenal fans. Saturday night, none of them were in the live chat. None of them, right? And then on Sunday, out of nowhere, there was loads of Liverpool fans that I haven't seen for months, all of a sudden reappeared. And because I ultimately said, yeah, great second half, but I didn't learn anything because first half, you were that bad defensively. Second half, I've got to give credit to Klopp, whatever he said at halftime. I think that Jason Tyndall pissed him off and he said a lot to the players. Players came out, played really well, but that's one half. We know you're good going forward, but defensively, you look so shite. Konate's now injured. And I said, so I haven't learned anything. And they were like, oh, Daps, you're worried now. I said, worried? Tottenham need to be worried about you lot. I honestly, and they're going mad at me about how can you be counting Liverpool out? And it's like one half of football, and all of a sudden, a team that has won 5 of the last 6 Premier Leagues should worry about you again. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of links into the stream we're doing now, which is a sort of weekend review. We're just chatting about the Big Six fixtures, I suppose, and giving our thoughts. But I was going to tell you about Big Six last night. Our good friend Grizz donned Szoboszlai as the Hungarian Steven Gerrard. I said, wow.
Steven Gerrard's pretty hungry as well for a Premier League trophy.
Well, I said the one thing the two of them do have in common is neither of them won a Premier League. that's about as far as it goes.
Reactionary, man. Reactionary. It's reactionary. Yeah. And even this season so far with City, it's like every single game people want to say, oh, City haven't looked that good so far. But you've got to remember, we had 2 weeks less pre-season than everyone because we were still busy wrapping up some trophies, right? We then started the season a week before most with the Community Shield, right? We then had to fly out and play in 30 degrees in Athens, fly back and play. And we've had injuries that if this was any other team, they'd be waxing lyrical about the injuries. And then the other thing that really irritates me, because this is downplaying other teams. And remember where we come from. Yeah, I really hate where people downplay other teams. Like one of my pet hates is where people talk about you've got no history because you won no trophies. Firstly, do your research? We have. But secondly, what if we didn't? Right? Are you downplaying fans of teams that have been loyal just because their team they've still got history, but they were downplaying the Burnley and the Sheffield United away games. I said, hold on, they're 2 away games, right, against newly promoted teams. They're difficult games to play, right? Even more so. One of them's a War of the Roses against Sheffield United, yeah. There's still that rivalry. Lancashire and Yorkshire will always be there. And Burnley's like a Manchester, it's not a derby, but it's still a Manchester team. And I just think you're looking at anything to try and downplay the fact that City have started the season well. And that should worry everyone because usually we don't. And we already know we've got the credit in the bank that when it gets to the back end of the season, we're gone, right? We don't drop points. Do you know Arsenal have to come to the Etihad at the back end of the season?
Is that when it is?
At the back end at Argaff, back end of the season, yeah. So already I'm saying to them, you need to go and pay attention to these type of things. We've got United away first. So back end of the season, we've got Arsenal at home, Man United at home at the Etihad, yeah. You need to pay attention to these things, rivals, because neither of you getting no points at the Etihad. So Arsenal trying to play catch up when they're already 2 points behind us, knowing back end of the season they've got to come and guaranteed go back down the M6 and M1 with no points. So yeah, man, I'm buzzing really with City. I honestly think the 4P is on, and
I think the 4P is on. I think everyone else is thinking the 4P's on as well, and it's worrying fans.
Oh no, but I'm more confident more early than ever this season because I'm like, and the other fake narrative is that Arsenal have strengthened, because that's fake narrative. If you actually break it down, yeah, they had strengthened, but Timber's injured for a season.
Yeah, right? That's a rip.
What do you make of Arsenal so far this season, Daps? It's polarizing. Some Arsenal fans are like, nah, he's just getting it right. He's just tweaking things. And then some Arsenal fans are like, get him out of the club, Arteta.
I've got to be consistent because the start of last season when Pep was tinkering with our defense a lot, I was saying that, you know what, it's good that he does it now because you don't want to do it back into the season where you're, putting partnerships together for the first time. So I do understand why I kind of understand, what Arteta was doing with Partey, and I understand all of that. But the difference is when we tinker, we have credit in the bank to tinker because we've had the seasons where we lose 5-2 at the Etihad to Leicester in the opening couple of weeks and still gone on and won the league. People know what happens with Man City business end of the season. That credit's in the bank. Whereas people also know what happens with Arsenal business end of the season. So Arsenal can't be starting off slowly because the last time other teams, our rivals, started off slowly, we got 100 points. Right. So you can't be starting off slowly against City because it's just, and I honestly think they haven't really strengthened. Havertz is throwing Arteta's mind mad because it's so, you look at Arsenal and you think, do you know what? Yeah. Partey was, according to them lot, one of the best sixes in the Premier League last season. Right. So you have to keep him as a six. We've seen it with Fernandinho, and we had Fernandinho and Laporte got injured and Fernandinho dropped back into the centre-back role. He did a good job, but you don't take a world-class six or out of their position and then fill it up with someone that's not as good. So they could have kept him there, put Rice where he was and kept Ben White on the right. And then it would have been an improvement because you're playing Rice instead of Xhaka, which I think is an improvement.
Yeah.
Instead, he's changed it all, and all of a sudden now it's like it's not looking as good. And the maddest thing is that I honestly thought he would have changed it at the weekend, knowing that next weekend they've got Man United. Right? He hasn't changed it, and now, like, I don't know what the best idea is. I don't know if the best idea for Arsenal is to keep going with what he's been trying to do and hope that it works, or alternatively to revert back and play Saliba and Gabriel, but it'll be their first game back together, and it's going to take them a period to gel back together because they've been used to playing in a kind of a different thing. So I think Arteta's, it's risky. I'm not saying, I still think they'll be our biggest challenger, but I just think they can't afford to drop points at Fulham at home. They can't. Like, we won't.
No, I know. I'm more weirdly. I'm more confident about winning the league this season than I was last season for some reason. I mean, I don't know about you two, but during the transfer window there, when it was crazy, everybody was signing players left, right, and center. It was all popping off. It was scrambling. I, for some reason, developed this thought in my head that everybody else was strengthening wildly, and I was going, "Oh shit, this is going to be a red hot Premier League. There's going to be loads of teams going for it." But having watched everybody now 2 or 3 times, I don't look at anybody and go, "Shit, they've done it this summer. They've strengthened to the point where my arse is shaking." Do you know what I mean? Where I'm really, really worried of them.
No one stepped up, innit? No one stepped up to the plate and then stood out as that challenger yet.
The thing is, it was like first week, obviously Newcastle looked shit hot, right? And everyone's like, Newcastle might. And then they came up against City. And when we played them, I remember saying to someone on the way to the ground, saying, I honestly think this could be our hardest game this season, because of the fact we played only 2.5 days ago, the injuries we've got, the fact that you got to remember, the back end of last season, if we're saying Stones was inverting, we were playing kind of in midfield. Rodri, Stones, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, right? Now we're playing Rodri. That's it. Because Stones is injured, Gundogan's gone, Bernardo Silva hadn't been starting at that point, and Kevin De Bruyne hadn't been starting. So people try and downplay that game against Newcastle. We had a midfield that had hardly playing together. And at the moment at Liverpool, everyone's going, this is a new look midfield, and it's already starting to cook. Same with us. Like Kovacic, Foden, and who else played in that one? Kovacic, Foden, well, whoever it was. It's a new group of players. Oh, Akanji.
Akanji was stepping in. Yeah.
And Newcastle just got outclassed by Pep for me, right? That was just
they were disappointing on the day there, Newcastle. They didn't really offer much.
You look at Liverpool, unless Liverpool strengthened like with a DM and a good DM, by the way, not just any DM, another DM and another centre-back, they're not going to be there. Arsenal, for me, are already feeling the pressure this early on because there's more pressure on them than ever. And last year, they didn't do well under pressure. So who else is there? Chelsea too soon and nowhere near. Loads of potential, bags of potential in there, but no know-how. I honestly think this season is going to be... And there's a thing with our players. other fans said that they think we might drop off a bit as far as our mentality and will the players still. But I
Yeah,
don't
have that
sense that.
hunger.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh, it seems to me like our players are hungrier than ever.
yeah,
Because
yeah. They just seem
they've got a
just as
taste
up
for
for it.
winning.
Yeah,
Who was it
that's
that
what I
said
was saying
that?
as well. Like the fact that of winning that Champions League. Someone said it on like one of the main like broadcasters. They said like they don't think they'll fall off. They think they'll want that feeling again of winning that
Oh, it's what
Champions League.
Bernardo said it in his contract thing. He said, once you get a taste for winning, you want to win more.
Yeah,
And even when you look at like, honestly, people go, oh, but what can they do now? Well, straight away, I know exactly what I want. I want a 4P and I want to retain the Champions League because that's what we, season in, season out, that's what we do. We go and go, what hasn't been done yet? All right, we'll go and do that. And
yeah,
like, I get someone's retained it as in Nottingham Forest, but it was in a different lifetime. And I think they didn't have to play as many games and whatever else. I honestly think City will be trying to do the 4P and retain the Champions League. I think that's what Pep would have said to them. They're the ones we want. They're the ones we want.
Definitely. Big up Cyber Dragon at 40 says, boils my blood, dog. Daylight robbery about Haaland not getting the Young Player of the Year, but he has obviously got the Player of the Year. Yes, Cyber Dragon. And Joe Griffiths with the 5 says, reminds me when Pardew, Tony Pulis and Klopp won Manager of the Year when we won the league. Wasn't that one of the only times in a season where the winning, like the team that's won the Premier League, the manager of that didn't win the Premier League Manager of the Year?
No. I can tell you another one.
It's always at City though, isn't it?
No, Klopp got it.
Klopp got it, and then
there was a season where it made no sense, right? Because it was a season where Klopp, I think it might have been season before last. Yeah, it was season before last where City and Liverpool went at it again, and everyone said, Pep and Klopp shouldn't get it. Pep or Klopp shouldn't get it because they're just doing what we all know they'll do, right? And I was like, do you know what? I'll hear that narrative. No problem. If we're going to say neither Pep nor Klopp can get it because this is just what they do, I'll hear that. But then when Klopp got it, I'm like, hold on a minute. They came second. How have you given? And to be clear, this was the Premier League manager, not one for everything you've done. The Premier League Manager of the Year, and Klopp got it coming second when Pep came first. And I'm like, how does that make any sense? But it happens to us a lot because we're just whitewashing football, aren't we? So
yeah. Any fixtures from the weekend that you want to specifically talk about? So we spoke a little bit about Arsenal, Fulham. Obviously, them dropping points there. United came from behind, didn't they? They beat Forest 3-2, which I was gutted about. But it is what it is. Did you both watch the Newcastle game, Newcastle Liverpool?
Yeah. I was up at my sister's, and my sister's
oh yeah,
my sister's married to a Scouser, whose dad actually founded the Hillsborough charity. And,
really? Yeah.
But both their kids are blue though, so it's good, all good.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, watching it with him, and yeah, that wasn't good because he's a typical Scouser. Like straight away, he kept going. He's wanting to repeat and show me the goals over and over again, making out like they were Tony Yeboah, like 40-yard pile drivers. I'm like, yeah. Nunes scored a goal that he should be scoring for me. They're not. I think Nunes had a good game, but like I said, Newcastle just first half looked like they were going to blow them away. Liverpool shocking defensively, absolutely shocking. But then second half, I think that's what we've learned about Newcastle. They can't handle pressure. They
crumble, man.
But even if you go back to January, when they got to the Carabao Cup final, all of a sudden their form dipped. And then they weren't great in the Carabao Cup final. The minute that was over, they went back to being good again.
Yeah.
They're not ready for pressure yet for me. I think that's what we learned about them. But Liverpool learned nothing new. They can score goals, but they can't defend. They really can't.
For me, it was a case of Liverpool won that game not because Liverpool were the better team. It was because Newcastle didn't know what to do in that situation. Newcastle seemed to only have this one default setting, and that is go all hell for leather, go for broke, and try and completely blitz teams. And we've actually done that before ourselves under Pep, and that was actually what let us down in the Champions League, that our strategy in the Champions League was always blockbuster football, and that's why we were winning games 6-3, and that's why we were losing games, ultimately getting knocked out by high scores. Remember Tottenham and those kind of ones. But Newcastle seemed to only know how to do that. When in that game, when they went up by one goal and it was 11 men versus 10 men, their mentality should have gone from, right, we no longer need to now blitz Liverpool.
Yeah.
We don't need to go for broke and try and, hit them for 5 and 6. All we need to do is maintain possession, pick them off, try and get another goal to kill the game, and then we'll leave here with our 3 points. We've beaten Liverpool for the first time in 19 years, whatever it was. Instead, they said, nah, we're going to keep going. And that's what left them exposed. That Liverpool defense, it was so there for the taking.
Yeah.
It just took a bit of patience and a bit of game management from Eddie Howe and that knobhead Jason Tyndall. They didn't know what to do in that situation. They just let the players keep going as they were. When it took what a top manager would do, and an experienced manager would do, is tell the team, right, let's chill out. So it was there for them. So I said this to Grizz last night in the Big Six. I said, Liverpool got peppered last night, but got a smash and grab because the opposition didn't know what to do with a peppering. They had the pepper shaker in their hand, but they didn't know how to twist the top of it. Do you know what I mean? There was nothing coming out the end.
Do
you know,
it's
similar to right. So last season, obviously, the Real Madrid at home game was amazing, but for me, the Bayern Munich game was better, right? And the reason is that when we scored our first, exactly like you said, we were so calm. Whereas if you go back to Real Madrid the season before, when they were at the Etihad, and remember, we scored one, they were like, go at them again. And it's like, don't do that against Real Madrid, right? Because they're one of the best teams in transition and they can kill you on the counters so quickly.
Yeah.
And this year against Bayern and against Real Madrid, it's the way we were so composed that when we scored one, we didn't start going at them for a second. When we got the chances, we went for the jugular. But we were calm, knowing we're going to win this. Oh, you can have the ball for a bit, no problem whatsoever. Because when we get the ball, we're going to hurt you more than you. And I think that's where, do you know, Pep's evolving every year. Every year he's getting better. I think that's why I always say to other people, the biggest thing you have to worry about is Pep's getting better in this league every single season. Pep all of a sudden likes the art of defending. And that's just worrying for everyone.
Unheard of, man. Like, Pep used to be a midfielder, man, innit? With loads of midfielders. Now he's defender, man. Literally, full-backs, I don't care about them no more. Just give me every defender. I'll turn the defenders into midfielders now.
I remember the first game last season where we saw the lineup and it was 4 centre-backs and Twitter was going mad, going, we're actually playing 4 centre-backs. And then all of a sudden it was like, hold on a minute, this 4 centre-backs thing seems to be working quite well. And that's what
an
I think
example
this year,
of Pep evolving there. That 4 centre-back thing, he's evolved into that. And now that's what we're running.
And now I guarantee you this season, like, everyone's already trying to second guess the new thing that Pep's going to do this year. Like, Cass thinks that Pep's going to, this season, is going to all of a sudden revert to 2 old school wingers and just like start a bit like, with Sane and Sterling type thing. Just go like really. But I think that's the thing that I think that's a bit what Arsenal are trying to do at the moment. They know that people will play the low block against them. So they're trying to think, right, what's another way with us? And someone said to me the other day, oh, do you worry about teams playing the low block against you? I go, worry? He goes, yeah, some away games that a lot of teams, I go, well, we've had that home and away for about 6 years. Like it's just, you break it down. Pep comes up with a way and that's the difference. So other games this weekend though, Newcastle, Liverpool,
I can't.
West Ham
smashed it. West Ham smashed it against Brighton. They did bits.
Yeah.
Mohammed Bidatu says, if you could win a Premier League or Champions League season, which one are you picking, boys? This season, if you could win the Premier League and get a 4P or the back-to-back Champions League.
I want to keep. I want to keep going with this, and then another, and then another. I want to.
Ruin the league, innit?
Let's ruin football. You know what? That's the thing. When people say like ruining football is a bad thing, I'm all for ruining football. Let's ruin football. Let's go out there and get.
We're ruining it for you. We're not ruining it for us.
We're having a great time.
Listen, I lived supporting City and going Main Road in an era where football was truly ruined for me. Yeah. Truly ruined because there was another team doing not as much, not quite as good as what we were doing, but doing something very similar to what we were doing. And trust me, that was ruined football. This is beautiful football. This is lovely. I could live in this era for the rest of my life.
I've stood on the pitch in the Etihad the last 2 Mays in a row, celebrating league wins. You know what I mean? I've been in the center circle twice in a row now, celebrating. There's nothing ruined for it for me. I fully appreciate what you're saying about how it was ruined for you because you're a bit older than me, kind of thing. But there's nothing ruined for us. We're watching the best players in the world.
And the other thing is, it's worth saying as well, is because when the charges thing hit, I had people saying to me, "What will happen when City? What will happen when City get found guilty and when you get relegated?" And I go, what will happen is that we'll still be here, we'll still be going to games. They're like, you won't, will you? I was like, yeah, we've been through this. Like, and this is the thing that a lot of people go to football to win, right? We've been through it where we go to football I go to football to be with my mates. Like, we're playing on Saturday. Yeah. I'm coming up to Manchester on Thursday because I want to be with my mates. So we go to football to be with our mates and watch the football. Now, don't get me wrong. It's a lot better when you're winning. It's so much better. Yeah. But like, and you could ask most City fans that go to the games, right? They go to go Mary D's before and after. Yeah. They go in the South Stand and get pissed up before the game and then watch our team and support our team. But this whole narrative is some fan bases, no, you're talking about you because all you've known is winning, not to the level that we are, but you support your team for that reason. We don't support City for that reason. But people just don't get it. They don't get that.
There is there's a fantastic sense of community. I've noticed. I don't know about any other clubs because obviously I don't go to other clubs' games, but there's a fantastic sense of community in the City fan base. Like, you'll know that from away games. You see the same people every week at the away games. You see the exact same people. You get to know everybody by name. You drink with the same people. But you know the way you talked about the charges issue there for a second, Daps. I've got a bone to pick with you on the charges. Because
can I just say before we move on to that, while you were talking about you meet people, so when we were in Athens, right? There's a couple of Irish lads. I think they're from Cork. And me being Daps and me being drunk, I'm like, oh, do you know Huey? And they were like, what Huey? There's quite a lot of Hueys. And he's just looking at me going, Daps, what the hell? I'm like, you know, Huey. I go, Huey Murray. And then they're like, oh, yeah, we heard of him. We don't know him, though. But I'm thinking, do you know what? It was just a moment where I'm thinking, oh, you're from Ireland. You must know Huey if you're from Ireland, because you know it's only a small place. What do you say about the charges, though? What have I said on that?
I mean, there only is 5 million people in the island of Ireland, so we must all know.
And how many of them are Hueys? How many of them are Hueys? And how many of them are Hueys and City fans? Actually, then that whittles it down a bit.
I met one called Hugh on the tram here on Friday night. He came up to me, goes, "Oh, I'm a City Xtra fan. I watch City Xtra." And he comes up and he was like, "Yeah, City Xtra."
That's pretty mad.
The thing with the charges is, that was the worst day in my life that came in, and not even because of the charges, because I had the worst hangover of my. I told this story before, but not while you were here. I had the worst hangover of my life because me and you, bro, we were at Tottenham away the day before, and you had this brilliant idea after the game. You go, Hugh, I want to put you on this drink. It's called Magnum. These little bottles of fucking cough syrup, and he's like, drink 2 of these, you'll be on a great buzz, you'll have a great night. I did have a great buzz. I did have a great night, but I was throwing up luminous green on the flight home the next day.
Yes, Daps, I love that.
But then the best bit about that was, so just to tag me in there quickly, when me and Huey parted ways, I went out with Steve and another guy for some food and carried on drinking, and then I fell out with everyone. I fell out with literally everyone that I do YouTube with, because they were giving me shit in a group chat, and I just probably said things that in hindsight I shouldn't have said. And I woke up the next morning at about, I phoned in work sick because I've been on a like 4-day bender, I think. Then I phoned in work sick, and I looked at my phone at about 9:30, 10ish, and had mad numbers of messages saying, Daps, what are you doing? Are you free to come on a stream? And loads of people asking me, we need to talk about the news. And I'm thinking, hold on. City losing to Tottenham away is not news. Yeah. It happens every season. So it's not to have this many messages, but because I was hanging so much, I just was like, nah, ignore them. Woke up about an hour later, had even more messages. So just message one back and go, what are you talking about news? They go, have you not seen Twitter? Have you not seen the news? I'm like, nah. And they go, so I went and saw the charges, and I just read it, and I was still hanging. And then I messaged Matisse, because I'd Battle of the North, and I said, Matisse, because I know the way I can be when I'm on a downer, and especially when people are coming at City, and I don't react very well, to be frank with you. I can probably say things that aren't very nice and lose my head on streams that I shouldn't do. Yeah. So I was like, do you know what, Matisse? Today's not a good day for me to stream because it's not going to end well. Maybe Huey can.
I forgot it. You shouldn't have brought that up. I forgot about that.
So you had to go with Hassam. I felt so guilty.
Bro, I barely knew what was going on. Because I landed in Dublin Airport. My flight was at like 9 a.m. So the charges news hadn't broken yet. I'm hanging out my arse. I'm like, thank God I'm in Dublin now. You know, I can go to bed. I can chill out. Phone's going ring, ding, 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 ding. The charges come in. Everyone's looking for streams. I agreed to do stuff just because I was like trying to get them off my case straight away. The Big Six was that night as well. Straight after Battle.
Oh, that's great.
I remember if you actually go back to that stream,
to be
you
fair.
can actually see me at stages during those streams, just like I didn't know what to say.
That was
It's
selfish as me.
hard,
Actually,
that.
because you had told me that you were throwing up everywhere, and I literally couldn't give a shit. I was like, "Nah, you can go and face the hyenas."
Yeah.
I'm staying in my bed and not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
I owe you a couple of magnums. You can have them on Saturday if you want.
There we go. There we go. Bring the Magnum Daps.
because I had a bad experience, but I won't say no.
Yeah, he's
Got
not
it.
saying no
We
to
got
it. Joe with a £10. Yes, yes, Joe, mate. Appreciate your super chat. He says, talking of deluded Arsenal fans, I read an Arsenal fan saying last year's Arsenal squad is better than the 2011 City team. Also, they weren't sure that Yaya would be good enough to get into their squad. Yeah, that ain't it.
I had someone on the stream yesterday tell me that that Enzo Fernandez walks into Manchester City's midfield and he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League right now. And then basically what he was then telling me that the reason is because of, you know, what he's seen at Chelsea and the World Cup. And I go, okay, so you're going to discredit everything that Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri have done over the last 5 seasons, in particular last season winning the treble, and you're going to discredit all of that because you've seen Enzo show good signs at Chelsea. But that's just what you get. Like that's the bar we're setting. It's mad. But,
yeah. Pressure with the 5 also says, yes, we have ruined football according to the rest of the world. Let's embrace our villain title.
Yeah,
that's what we were all saying before.
Well, that's the way it is now. I've found that this is the thing. To sing 115 charges, you'll never sing that. To just laugh at it and say, City going down with $1 billion in the bank, and that's the way we. Do you know what? And that is the City way as well. Like,
yeah, laugh it off, innit?
Laugh it off. Like, all right, you're saying this because you're jealous, and no problem. And the charges thing, the maddest thing is now where people are bringing up, oh, yeah, but you do realise the charges are inevitable. I think the only thing, honestly, firstly, I think we will beat them. Secondly, I do. I think we'll beat most of them. The reason they've put some of the crap ones in there is so that when we beat the other ones, they'll do us for like the long grass or something, right?
Yeah.
Because then they can still tell you, oh, you were found guilty. Because if the police kicked in my door now, right, and we're looking for bodies, guns, whatever else, yeah, and found a spliff on the table, they wouldn't have to pay for my door. And I'd still be, oh, yeah, we found, it's fine that we entered his house because we found something. And I think that's what they're doing with this. They're basically, we'll get found.
Throw enough until something sticks, innit? Like,
and it'll be something pathetic so they can go, you were still found guilty. And even if we were to be found guilty of some of them, we ain't getting relegated. We ain't having point deductions. It's not as deep as people are. The number 115 makes it sound like we've done absolute effery. It's not as deep as people are making out. Like, if you go and look at other things, we won't get relegated. We won't get a point deduction. And personally, I think we beat it as well because Todd Bowley finds loopholes, shouts about it, and the loopholes get closed. And our club is far shrewder. Our owners are far shrewder. They're businessmen, right? They will have known about loopholes, but instead of shouting about it, they'll use the loophole. And by the way, a loophole is a way of saying you're allowed to do it. That's the truth. A loophole is, oh, well, it's just a loophole. No, you're allowed to do it. That's the way it is. So I think we'll beat it all, personally.
Yeah, I was about to say then, Craig Party Time just put in the chat. Yes, it's Craig. He says it's 5 different charges times God knows how many. So it's like 115 charges, but it's all collated into these like 5 main like charges. But it's just because you get charged with one of them things, you get charged with all these other ones as well. So it all gets collated.
Yeah, that's true. You know, that is true.
Everyone says. I think I'm with you there, Dab. So I think it would be the same as like Cass. With Cass, you say to any like rival fan, oh yeah, we're found not guilty. And then they go, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. You were guilty. You were guilty. No. We're guilty of not cooperating. Not all the other bullshit that they tried to kick us out for.
We're guilty of pulling down UEFA's pants in public. Yeah. Of literally saying, like, it's like if police turn up and go, we want to search your house, and you go, have you got a warrant? And they say no. Well, you go, well, you're not coming in then. And that's what City did. They were asking for evidence. And City said, if you want to see evidence, take us to court and we'll show you evidence. They took us to court and we go, thank you. Now we'll expose the corruptness of UEFA, and pulled their pants down in public. That's exactly what we did, because our club, all we ever say, all Khaldoon ever says is, we just want consistency. That's all he ever says is, if you want to investigate us, investigate everyone. And I think that's why I actually think the Premier League will back out, because they'll be so shook that what City are saying is, all right, we want to see some consistencies. And when what's it called? Level Up drops. You know about that? The recordings of the apparently City have got some recordings of
the referee stuff about
not to do with City in other games, saying in someone's ear, level up, and what they're basically saying is, we got a decision wrong earlier, so go with this one. And they're the type of things that I think City in their back pocket will have, like we said, be consistent. If you don't want to be consistent, we will blow up the whole Premier League, and you don't want that. So
yeah, I agree. Alex said he'll be drinking 115 pints of lager in Tenerife. I don't care about charges.
Exactly.
Rate that. Right, should we speak about some transfer news? Because I kind of want to get your opinion on this stuff. So obviously, me and Hugh had a lot to say on that, the whole Nunes thing. But what are you saying? Do you rate the Nunes signing?
I'll be very honest with you. I haven't watched enough of Nunes. Going into the transfer window, I was very comfortable in saying we trust our board, we trust our manager, we trust our scouts. They've won us a treble. With any player, people will try and downplay it and whatever. It's like, look, if Pep's picking this guy, or Pep and the scouts are picking this guy, there's a reason, right? And even if I had watched him loads for Wolves, that's not a Pep system. That's a Wolves system. So you bring a player in, and I could come on here and go and look at stats, but even with players where people were trying to like on Doku, I'll be on shows and people are trying to slander him. Other people are trying to talk him up. Look, I've said this to a few people recently. I am a football fan. I'm not an ITK, right? I'm not a scout. Yeah, I'm a Manchester City football fan, and I'll wait to see how we play. Then we comment on it, and I'll comment on other teams that I watch. So even with Doku, where people are trying to convince me either way, I'll just say, honestly, I'm that comfortable that I'll sit back and watch him cook under Pep. Yeah, I've seen things. I've seen what he can offer. I've heard that he's quite raw still, a bit like Leroy Sané. Well, listen, Leroy Sané is my favourite winger since Peter Beagrie. So if we're getting another Leroy Sané, I'm all over that. Yeah. And I just think we just have to wait and watch what Pep does, because, you know, even if you look, I mean, Ferran Torres wasn't an amazing signing, but he cooked for us, innit? So I
trust us, man. I trust Pep. I trust the board in doing the right things. I mean, look at what we're doing as a football team right now. Like, just coming off the back of winning a treble and that, we have no reason to not trust them right now. Yeah, we've missed out on some of our main targets, which doesn't look great. And if this Nunes deal does fall through, which I don't think it will, I think it'll go. I think we'll get it done.
Yeah, it's like Leipzig throwing toys out the pram for no reason. Like it'll get done.
I reckon it'll be done in the next. I reckon like tomorrow or something like that. You'll hear like a lot of news tomorrow on it. I think they would have been working today quite hard to get a lot of the formalities done. Whereas now, it seems like quiet news wise today. So that's why I'm kind of expecting it to like blow up tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. I think the other thing is that if you look at some recent signings we've made, and I'm not meaning, let's not talk the obvious one with Haaland. Let's look at Akanji last season, right? And more importantly, let's look at Kovacic this season, right? People don't want to talk on Kovacic so far this season. He's been unbelievable. For a player that has just joined this team, it's literally like he's walked in and Pep's gone to him. You know how I want you to play, right? And Kovacic's gone, yeah, cool,
don't worry, I know exactly what you want me to do, mate.
And that's it. Like, and this one thing, some Chelsea fans will go, oh, what do you do? What you think he's going to replace Gundogan? You think he's going to get the goals Gundogan's going to get? No, I don't. Right. When De Bruyne leaves, we are not getting a De Bruyne replacement. Yeah, we'll change the way we play, because you can't get a Kevin De Bruyne replacement. For me, Gundogan, you can't get a Gundogan replacement when people say, oh, well, who's going to step up with the clutch goals? Rodri, right? And then Kovacic will, I think, like Kovacic is coming in and he's driving with the ball like sometimes De Bruyne drives with the ball. And his ball retention's unbelievable. And it's just a thing. People will all try and pick flaws at where City are going to drop off, but it's just like, just trust the machine. the machine from Khaldoon below is just.
Yeah, the thing with the Nunes one as well is I'm not even that bothered about him. Like, if he doesn't come in and blow me away, as long as he can come in and be serviceable and take 15 games off Rodri, that for me is even worth the money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Keeping Rodri nice and fresh and able to play, like we said this morning, Jordan, that Rodri spoke recently about how he doesn't want to play 60 games a season. So even if we can just spend that cash to relieve Rodri of that, because Pep don't trust Calvin, obviously. I'm fine with that.
Oh,
I'm
that's
perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. And do you know what? I'll be real. Kovacic could do for me again. Chelsea fans will say, "Oh, nah, Kovacic can't do the 6 role," and it's like, no, Kovacic couldn't do a 6 role at Chelsea, where a 6 role is more of a destroyer. A 6 role at Manchester City is far different to a 6 role. I honestly believe that Kovacic or Nunes could both do the 6 role. Of course, not as well as Rodri, but exactly like you said. Rodri's been at City for, is it 4 years now? And
I think it's 4.
And he's the amount of games he's played. Even the fact that after the title parade, the trophy parade, he was on the flight the next day to Spain, and I think played the next day in their semi-final. And I think he got man of the match or a goal, and then played in the final. And the guy will get burnt out if we don't. And that was the thing with Calvin Phillips last year. He didn't take that strain off of Rodri. So, Huey, you're spot on. That is what Nunes can do. Come in and just allow Rodri to have. And even if it is certain games, Rodri can come off at half time, like we did with Haaland a bit last season, and let Nunes come in when we're 2 up or whatever, and just control the game. And so, ultimately, the one thing Arsenal fans are saying is that the players they've bought have helped to improve the squad depth. Exact same for us. I don't think any of the players we've signed, apart from Vardio and maybe Kovacic, Vardio and Kovacic, I think will be regulars. They already
more
are,
first
right?
teamers, them, aren't they? Yeah.
Nunes and Doku.
They'll be rotated quite a lot.
They'll be rotated.
Yeah,
they're young. They've got time to be embedded in, and given probably we'll start seeing them a bit more maybe January and February, where the games start coming hard and fast. But until then, but that's fine, because that is what we're doing. Pep's building a younger squad to move forward. We keep the age about balance between potential and experience, and it's just carrying on the same as every other year.
Yeah, it's working.
Sorry,
about what you're saying there, by the way, that's about Kovacic taking that 6 role. I back him on that. I back Nunes in that, and I think Nunes and Kovacic instantly go above Calvin Phillips in that, and that's why Calvin Phillips found himself in a dodge position.
Have you heard anything if he might?
Absolutely nothing. I reckon. I think he's going to stay. Spoke about it a lot. I think it is his head. He wants to stay and try and find.
Yeah. That's what I've heard from people that chat to him. That is it. Yeah.
What are you saying here?
I said I rate that, by the way. I rate the fact that he wants to stay and fight for his place when he's totally up against the ropes. Like, no, literally most of the City fan base doesn't care if he leaves. Pep probably doesn't particularly care if he leaves. But he's still like, nah, I rate the fight. But the thing with City transfers in general is what I kind of laugh at when people talk about or try to pick at our transfers and the players we sign, like Kovacic, like the point you made, Daps, about people saying, "Oh, do you think Kovacic is going to come in and replace Gundogan just outright and bring those goals?" And then you spoke about how Rodri will get some of those clutch goals. That's right. But the thing with our transfers is you can't look at the player you're getting and go, "That's what he's going to be for Man City." Pep always picks his players based on the fact that he sees something in them that he believes he can turn them into something else. So the Kovacic you saw at Chelsea was never going to be the Kovacic that you saw at Manchester City. He just possessed qualities that Pep Guardiola really likes and says, "Yep, he suits my machine." And for us, it's not so much about strengthening and getting better and flexing your muscles all the time. It's just about keeping the big machine moving.
Yeah.
Just keeping the big machine moving, giving the successful manager the tools he needs to sustain success. Because he has it all up here. You just have to give it to him. So anybody we sign, I'm never going to go, "Well, I don't really like this one." I'm going to go, Pep's got a plan for him. And we're going to see it. And you're right about Kovacic. It's like he knew what Pep wanted him to do straight away. Because we saw him preseason, immediately clicked straight away. Pep, we could actually see what Pep wanted him to do. And about the being number 6 then for Kovacic again, I remember when we first signed him for 25 million, I said, I can see Kovacic being a Rodri reinforcer, someone to help Rodri get some rest and allow him. And people going, "Oh, you think Kovacic can play number 6? Are you mad?" I said, "Watch." Very first game, number 6 in preseason.
He can, because you look at, it's very easy to say, we're a team that has possession, right? when you have possession, your role as a 6 is completely different to,
it
you know,
changes
if you're a
completely.
6 for flipping Burnley, I get it. Yeah. You have to break up play and whatever. That's not the way City play. Rodri is the perfect 6 for City because of his passing ability and his press resistance. Kovacic is press resistant. So it's just, it's what it is, man.
Yeah,
do you think we'll get one more though? Because I'd been told that after Doku there was going to be 2 more coming in.
yeah,
and
I think we left it a bit late for that now, bro.
I think City were looking at the potential of maybe Nunes and Eze. I think they're looking at.
No, it's definitely not both. It's definitely not both.
And then they kind of do full sent for Nunes. So I think maybe that was the 2. But then again, I can't remember if it's today or last night. I seen something again saying as soon as the Nunes deal's wrapped up, we're gonna try in the last basically couple of days to get someone else. But I don't know what kind of position we're trying to get there. I don't even know what would be
it can't be a defender, can it? I have seen that we've just signed a 20-year-old from West Ham.
That West Ham guy. Begins with the B. Baptiste. Yeah.
I've just seen that earlier. Yeah, interesting that one. I guess he'll go into the EDS team, or he might be loaned out actually to one of the other City group.
Yeah, we'll probably sell him in 12 months for 15 million.
yeah.
And then get criticised for it.
Yeah, it's ruining football.
We're fraudulent with our young players. The players that have done a 3-peat, for anyone that doesn't know, the youngest did 3-peat as well. And then
they did. Yeah.
This is a thing when people say about, why are these players going for that price? I'm like, Southampton have had Lavia for a year and look at how much money they've made, right? That's why our players that have done a 3-peat and have a winning mentality. Remember the Trafford penalty save, right?
Mm-hmm.
That told me everything you need to know about coming through Manchester City's academy. The way Cole Palmer was on the sideline going to everyone, he's going to save this, He's going to save this. Because it's just, and he told me before he's going to save it because they believe in themselves. Like the same as we do. Like in all these games, Villa, last game of the season where we're 2-0 down and we're all known we're still going to win this. Like the players just believe in themselves. It's bred into them. And that's why these players at City, you're buying mentality. You're not just buying their ability. You're buying their mentality. It's win.
Craig in the chat has put the second player, the second signing, if we do get 2, will be the Boca left back. His name
Barcola. His name is it Barcola?
Barcola. Oh wait, no, is he not called Bradley Barcola? It's I know what you mean. It begins with B, doesn't it? It might have. Anyway, it's him. The Boca Juniors left back.
How old is he?
I have no idea. Honestly, no idea. But he's saying that is the second signing. Okay. Basically, he says City are just deciding if he stays till January or joins the club now.
We haven't got too many injuries at the back. I'd probably say leave him there till January, then let him come in January. Yeah.
19 he is. He's 19.
Okay, so he's not. Yeah, let me say that.
But yeah, that's been a good stream, that boys. Just nice chatting of football on that. Daps is going to be going live very, very shortly.
Now, literally, I think the boys are going live in the other room in a minute, and then I'll jump over afterwards. So yeah,
there you go. So,
and when are we doing this challenge, by the way?
Hot ones.
Yeah,
this week. When you're up here, hot ones.
Okay. Where yours or?
Yeah, mine. She in the studio. Right. Hot ones. We'll get it done.
Okay.
So cool. Daps is confirmed for hot ones for people who are wondering, which is good. I'm gassed for. That's another episode.
I'll bring a lot of milk, a lot of yogurt.
Yeah.
A lot of Magnums.
Actually, Magnums are quite thick, so they might be all right as well. Yeah. Let's get
when we're struggling, bro, we'll have some Magnums, innit?
Cool. There it is.
Listen, I want to say as well. First of all, big up again to Daps for coming on, bro. We really appreciate it.
Massive.
And if you guys want to see more Daps coming on here, maybe a weekly thing or a regular thing, we love chatting to him. So make sure you let us know in the chat. Make sure you go over to Never a Foul and show love there. Let them know City Extra sent you because, as I said about Hal, the Sheffield United guy, and any guests we ever bring on, we really appreciate all of our guests. And some of them, if you want them more often, we can get them more often. So big up again to Daps and go over.
I love having me anytime, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you both at the weekend as well. And another 3 points.
Yeah, definitely. Go check out Daps in a couple of seconds. He'll be live in Never a Foul. This stream is going to automatically redirect straight over to there. So go show them some love, man. Go subscribe to their channel and everything. And yeah, other than that, let us know in the comment section below if you're watching this back on a replay. Let us know if you want to see more Daps. Like Hugh said there, we'll get him on as much as we can. as much as the
And I'll
guy's
try and
free.
talk less, by the way, because I talk too much. I know that, but it's just a problem.
You talk
No,
your talk, bro. You
that
talk
was
your
good, bro. That was good. Me and Hugh's done a lot of talking. We've done a lot of
Oh,
talking
cool,
recently,
cool,
bro. It was good.
It's refreshing.
Nice
It's
to have
refreshing.
someone else's opinion.
It's a flaw in my trait that I can't get rid of. It is what it is,
Good,
man.
keep it.
Steve knows, he says it. Even in the Bernabeu, I'll be telling him about Roy Hodgson. So
right. Save everyone. If it comes up with the redirect thing, then definitely press the button. I don't know if you actually have to press the button on this. I know on Twitch you do that, but there is a button that comes up. But yeah, man, go check out Daps, who's going live now on Never a Foul. Other than that, we will see you tomorrow with some more live streams. Hopefully some Mateus Nunes news. We'll see you in a bit.